Okay, guys, we gotta be real quiet here. Don't want the monsters to hear us. But I just got out of the theater seeing an advanced screening of A Quiet Place Part 2. And as a professional film critic, I wanted to deliver the first reaction from your everyday YouTuber for A Quiet Place Part 2. So let's get into it. I don't want to make my people wait. What did Dead Metal think of A Quiet Place Part 2? The truth is, A Quiet Place Part 2 absolutely fucking sucks! You want to talk about unnecessary sequels. You can throw out your Last of Us Part 2s, and you can throw out your Aliens, because now we have what Dead Metal will call the objectively definitive unnecessary sequel in the entire history of film. That's right, we're talking about A Quiet Place Part 2. A Quiet Place Part 2, more like an Irrelevant Place Part 2, because nobody's going to show up for this piece of unadulterated trash. John Krasinski has no idea what the fuck he's doing. Emily Blunt cannot act to save her life, and the character's logical, air quotes, logical thinking skills are that of a fucking insect. The irrational decisions the characters make in A Quiet Place Part 2 cannot be overstated. It's a fucking joke. You kill your main character in the first one, and now you expect us to care about the mom, the same mom who made those dumb shit decisions in the first one, like not using birth control, like stepping on a fucking exposed nail, can barely protect her fucking kids. Oh, but at the end, oh, no, she's some badass now. She's cocking that shotgun. She's gonna take the war to the monsters. Bull fucking shit. SJW-filled monstrosity. And that's not a pun. This film is literally scarier than the monsters it has in it. People are going to eat this shit up, though, because they think that this is what horror is in 2021. Film has never been, and particularly horror, has never been greater than it was in the 1980s. That was the pinnacle, the absolute peak, the epitome of horror films. And now we have literal mutilations of the genre, like A Quiet Place Part 2. First off, you cannot do horror with a PG-13 rating. I'm sorry, it cannot be done. For a horror film to be a horror film, we need to see gore. We need to see body parts getting ripped off, heads getting chopped off, things getting devoured. We need to see blood spurting left and right, bodily fluids flowing which way and that. This film will have none of that because they needed to appeal to a wider audience. Secondly, they're releasing this film in the midst of a pandemic, exclusively in theaters. Talk about irrational decision making. The business fucks at Paramount have lost their fucking minds. This movie will bomb, and if you're hoping for A Quiet Place Part 3, you're not going to get it, because this film in no way, shape, or form is going to be the return to cinema, you must experience it in the theaters, that they're billing it as. There's just no conceivable way that this film delivers in the way that they're setting it up to. Just the same way that Spiral failed with the same strategy. If I was Paramount or Platinum right now looking at this fucking thing, I would yank the wheel and pull a 180 so fucking fast it wouldn't be real. This thing needs to go out VOD and theaters simultaneously. You need to get as much money on both of those fronts as you can. People aren't going to go to a movie theater where there's literally socially distanced seating to watch a film like this where everybody's going to be quiet the entire time. I watched A Quiet Place in theaters, the first one. It was the biggest mistake of my film-going career. Mind you, I have seen a lot of shit. When you're a professional film critic like Dead Metal, you're forced to watch an absolute ton of trash movies. It's part of the job. I do it willingly. I watch them so you don't have to. If you're going to go willingly pay to experience A Quiet Place in a movie theater, you're a fucking idiot. The plot is nonsensical. The monsters aren't even that scary. You don't get to see half of the things that are implied because they block out all the gore to score that wonderfully attractive PG-13 rating. And this time we have to follow Emily Blunt's character, the dumbest character from the original, as she tries to stumble along and lead her family to sanctuary. Well, the only sanctuary I found was when the end credits rolled and I whispered a prayer to God above, absolutely begging him not to put into production A Quiet Place Part 3. Because if A Quiet Place Part 3 comes out, I think at that point, not only will I have given up on the entire human race, I'm just going to end it. I'm just going to blow my fucking brains out because there's no point. If A Quiet Place Part 3 happens, then I will truly know well and for sure that humanity will literally wipe themselves out, not because of global warming, not because of some fucking pandemic, but just by sheer stupidity. A Quiet Place Part 2 gets a -3 out of 10 from Dead Metal for having the most stupid fucking characters I have ever seen in a film, for having the dumbest shoehorned in flashback sequences so John Krasinski can get a fat fucking paycheck despite the fact that he's married to the lead. And above all else, for piss poor writing that a third grader could do a better job at in his fucking English class. Get fucked. A Quiet Place Part 2 is absolute trash.